This is the face of conservation in America. And this is the face of conservation in America.
That duck straight up.
Hunters, anglers, shooters and boaters. Through the wildlife and sport fish restoration funds, along with hunting and fishing license sales, these are the people that provide the funding for real fish and wildlife conservation.
Wildlife sport fish restoration funds pay for many wildlife conservation activities out there, monitoring of wildlife populations, and also our biologists working with private landowners to give them the technical guidance they need when they're seeking advice and managing their habitat for the benefit of wildlife for all Texans.
This funding source began in 1937 with the passage of the Pittman-Robertson Act. It created an excise tax on firearms, ammunition, and archery equipment. Since then, other legislation followed, some taxing sport fishing equipment and motorboat fuels. Together, these laws are called the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. For over 75 years, it has contributed more than $12 billion to fish and wildlife conservation nationwide. Over the years in Texas, we have received $650 million.
This critical funding has allowed Texas to do things like purchase wildlife management areas and operate them, conduct important wildlife research, restore native habitat, and even populations of wildlife. Some of the species restored were turkey, pronghorn, deer. Waterfowl species have come back. We're still working on bighorn sheep.
Aquatic species have also benefited, and fishing in Texas is the best in the nation, thanks to these funds.
Really, the Sport Fish Restoration Funds provide about $18 million to the state of Texas each year. This is huge for our state. Most of those monies are spent on managing freshwater and saltwater fisheries resources, doing research,
204.
doing habitat protection, and also for stocking fish.
Here they go.
These funds have been used to create literally hundreds of boat ramps, fishing piers that people can use to access our public water bodies throughout the state of Texas.
Wildlife and sport fish restoration funds also support outreach and angler education,
All right, we ready to put them back in?
hunter education and training,
Get invited to hunt.
leasing of some public hunting lands, and the construction of target ranges and other shooting facilities.
Federal Aid in Wildlife Restoration Act was passed about 75 years ago, so we're celebrating the anniversary this year. Today, many wildlife species face new challenges to survival, but one thing's for sure, without the financial support provided over the years by America's sportsmen and women, the relative abundance of wildlife we enjoy today would not have been possible.
Most people are completely unaware that they are the ones that fund the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program, because the manufacturers of the products pay these taxes directly to the federal government.
Well, here's the message to hunters and anglers and boaters. You're some of the best conservationists in the state. And when you invest in those activities that connect you to the great places in Texas, you're also investing in their protection.
You know, there's no greater tradition in our state than the history of hunters and anglers investing in the future of their fishing game. Today we're celebrating 75 years of that tradition. Every single one of our Texas anglers and hunters has made a difference in the future of their lands and waters and fish and wildlife in the state. Without your investments as a hunter and angler, we wouldn't have wild turkey. We wouldn't have white-tailed deer. We wouldn't have bighorn sheep. We also wouldn't have recovered species like the brown pelican. And so hunters and anglers have paved the way for every single one of us now and to come who care about our great future, and we owe every single one of you an enormous debt of gratitude.
Over the years, the faces have changed,
But the legacy of conservation by hunters, shooters, anglers, and boaters continues. 75 years and counting.